أي.
أوكي، تفضلي فوزية.
الحضور الأعزاء، أمسيتنا اليوم مع شابة من شاباتنا العراقيات، طبيبة أسنان، نور رافد عزيز، طالبة في السنة المنتهية من كلية طب الأسنان جامعة صوفيا في بلغاريا. أكملت دراستها الابتدائية والثانوية في بريطانيا. حصلت على A level في سنة 2016. قررت بعدها تكملة دراستها في الموضوع الذي تحلم به دائما، وهو طب الأسنان. لها رغبة كبيرة في التخصص في جراحة الفم والأسنان، وكذلك إجراء البحوث العلمية في هذا الفرع القريب إلى قلبها. نور كانت ولا تزال عضو ناشط في المجتمع، ولها مساهمات تطوعية وخيرية كثيرة. هي عضوة فعالة وناشطة في الجمعية الطبية العربية الموحدة في المملكة المتحدة وإيرلندا. تقوم تطوعاً بأعمال السكرتارية للجمعية والإخراج الإعلامي لأعمال الجمعية. تساهم في تنظيم فعاليات الجمعية من ورش عمل تدريبية ومؤتمرات علمية. تدعم المؤسسات الخيرية، وآخر عمل لها هو ركض 100 ميل لجمع التبرعات لجمعية سرطان العظام البريطانية، واستطاعت جمع 750 باوند. شاركت في معظم وقفات الاعتصام، تتبرع بالدم بصورة منتظمة. شاركت في معظم وقفات الاعتصام للجالية العراقية، ومنها وقفات ضد داعش ووقفات التضامن مع الشعب العراقي لحماية الآثار العراقية. المايك مع العزيزة نور عزيز. تفضلي نور.
Thank you, Fawzia. I'll just get my PowerPoint up now. Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Noor. And firstly, I just want to say a big thank you, to Fawzia and the Iraq Association for giving me this lovely opportunity today to talk about this topic today. So today I'll be talking to you about managing oral health during the COVID-19 pandemic. I feel it's a very important topic, which I feel isn't discussed as much, and it's very overlooked. It's very interesting too, and I hope that you will learn a lot and take a lot from this talk. So managing oral health during the COVID-19 pandemic. So safety during the COVID-19 pandemic. When we think of safety during the COVID-19 pandemic, we automatically think of, for example, when we wash our hands, for example, when we have to wear a mask, and when we have to keep a safe social distance of 1 or 2 meters. However, the one thing that goes unnoticed all the time is the oral hygiene, and it's very important. I feel like not many people are aware of the importance of oral hygiene, and I feel like it should be, I guess, the 4th rule after washing hands, social distancing, and wearing a mask. I just want a reminder that even though there is a very big rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine, that we should continue to stay safe and continue to take all of these measures, even though we've been fully vaccinated, as of course we are able to pass on the COVID-19 virus to others without realizing. So let's look inside the mouth. In the mouth, there are over 6 billion bacteria, including 700 different species that reside inside your mouth. Some promote health and others provoke disease. Even though only 15 to 20 of these bacteria are counted as bad, they are some of the most common. The oral bacteria that live and thrive inside your cheeks and on your tongue and palate and gums, and especially on your tonsils, they basically live in your mouth, and the mouth is a great habitat for bacteria. The mouth is constantly moist, it has a fairly neutral pH, and it is of course at body temperature. This is the best environment for bacteria to live. It's a perfect environment for them to grow and, of course, like go on to cause disease. So how does bacteria stay in the mouth? Plaque is a sticky white film, as you can see in this picture, that forms on your teeth every day. It's a slippery, fuzzy coating, which you can feel when you first wake up. Plaque is the white substance, which is basically a community of the living microbes or bacteria, which are surrounded by a glue layer. This is how they're able to stick on the teeth. The sticky coating helps the microbes attach to the surfaces in the mouth, so they can grow into thriving microcolonies. The plaque is what carries the microbes and bacteria. So, for example, when you eat carbohydrate, sugary foods, drinks, or any food that is considered as unhealthy in terms of the sugar side, these foods produce acids, which then form a reaction within this plaque here, which cause the pH in the saliva to become very acidic, and this is what causes tooth decay. It's the acids that cause tooth decay, not directly the sugary foods. That's why they say to limit sugary foods and drinks just to meal times, because it's important to keep the pH of the saliva as neutral as possible. So oral health. So our oral health is essential to general health and well-being and greatly influences the quality of life. I mean, I'm sure not many people are going to know the facts that I'm going to tell you today, but oral health has a direct relationship with general health. For example, what happens in your mouth and the general status of the human body, what happens in your mouth and the general status of the health in your mouth can directly determine the general health status of your body. For example, there's heart disease and pneumonia are just two examples of diseases that have been linked directly to gum disease. So in this diagram here, we can see that how the oral hygiene or oral health can directly affect the brain, the heart, the kidneys, the lungs, and the pancreas, and of course within the mouth itself. For example, in the brain, oral inflammation can be associated with blood clots, which can lead to stroke. In the heart, when you have a form of oral inflammation, it can raise the risk of heart attack by 13.6 times. That's twice the risk of a heavy smoker. Let's, for example, take in the kidneys. When you have the oral inflammation of the gums, this stresses the kidneys to fight the disease. And there's current research showing that there's actual direct link between the oral inflammation of the gums in your mouth has a direct link to kidney failure. An example of how oral health affects general health, I can explain now. So gum disease, which is the redness and inflammation of the gums, is linked to many illnesses such as heart disease, diabetes, respiratory disease, and other diseases. There have been thousands and thousands of research papers that have shown this. There have been researchers at the University of North Carolina School of Dentistry. They're just one of thousands and thousands of, let's say, like research papers or research committees. They have found that gum disease is twice as likely, that people with gum disease are twice as likely as others to die from a heart attack and 3 times as likely to have a stroke. This is where we can see the direct link between the oral health and the general status of the human. The mouth is the main portal of entry for most diseases. When you have ongoing inflammation in your mouth, you can allow bacteria to enter the bloodstream, which may lead to more inflammation in other parts of your body, such as the heart. Another example is diabetes and heart disease. Some studies point to a direct relationship between gum disease and diabetes. When you treat and control diabetes, immediately the condition in the mouth improves. So even though there is a link between from the mouth to the body, for example, take diabetes, when you control diabetes, the condition in the mouth automatically improves. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a balance. So once you have a control in one, you have a control in the other. When you have, for example, any sort of disease in the heart, such as when you have an infection in the lining of the heart or chambers or the valves. This can occur when bacteria or other germs from the mouth specifically spread through your bloodstream and attach to certain areas in your heart. We can see on this diagram that the bacteria in the mouth enter the bloodstream through the gums, and the oral bacteria can stick to fatty plaques in the bloodstream, and they can directly contribute to blockages. This oral bacteria can trigger an inflammatory response, causing the blood vessels to swell, which reduces the blood flow, which increases the risk of clots, which can then go on to, for example, strokes. Now we can go on to COVID-19 in particular. So the mouth, as well as the nose and as well as the eyes, are one of the main ways to contract COVID-19. COVID-19 spreads between people through direct and indirect contact. Indirect contact being through contaminated objects or surfaces, or close contact with infected people via mouth and nose secretions. These include saliva and respiratory droplets. These are released from the mouth or nose when an infected person coughs, sneezes, speaks, or sings, for example. This is why masks, and especially masks that fit properly over your mouth, this is really important. So people who are in close contact, even within 1 meter with an infected person, can catch COVID-19 with those infected droplets, which can go directly into their mouth, nose, or eyes. So the COVID-19 virus resides on the back of the throat. So this is one of the main places, as well as the nose, which COVID-19 basically just stays and resides, which is why one of the most, I guess, the main way to test for COVID-19 are taken with a swab from the back of the nose or the back of the mouth. The back of the mouth would have a higher surface area, so therefore there would be a high chance of the swab to take, let's say, parts of the virus to be tested, whether someone's positive or not. As you can see in this diagram, the back of the throat and the nose are connected right down to the throat. So whatever comes through one passage will probably spread to the other passage and then go down the throat and then start to multiply and cause COVID-19. The virus stays in the saliva. When you eat, drink, or swallow, the virus enters the respiratory tract and starts to cause COVID-19. And COVID-19 virus can stay in the mouth, like so there's been research to show that it can stay in the mouth for a certain amount of time, but however, there hasn't been enough research to tell us for how long. Hopefully in the future when they do more, maybe in the next couple of years they can see. So 3,000 saliva droplets can be generated by one cough, which nearly equals to the amount of the amount of droplets produced during a 5-minute talk. So there are around 40,000 saliva droplets can reach several meters in the air, can be generated by one sneeze. One normal exhalation, so when you breathe out once, this can generate saliva droplets that reach the air of about 1 meter. Large saliva droplets with more mass tend to fall to the ground, and small saliva droplets tend to cloud over in a long distance, which we said was 1 meter, by airflow, and then they continue to travel until they hit surface or they enter somebody else's mouth or nose. So how can I reduce the risk of acquiring COVID-19? The first one, in terms of oral health, is brushing. Toothbrushing obviously stops the plaque building up. You should try to make sure that you brush your teeth in every surface, and you should aim to brush your teeth 2 times a day for 2 minutes. It's important to use toothpaste that contains fluoride and the right concentration of fluoride. This is because the fluoride is a substance which basically gives the teeth back all of the important all of the important like nutrients and chemicals that it needs to become healthy and strong. So you can easily check the package. For example, when you go into a supermarket, you can look on the back of the toothpaste box to see how much the concentration of fluoride is. An adult toothpaste should contain at least 1,350 parts per million. And children of all ages can use family toothpaste as long as it contains at least 1,350 to 1,500. Children only use a pea-sized amount, just in case they, for example, like swallow too much fluoride. And one thing that people tend to forget is that you should not rinse your mouth after brushing. Just spit out the excess toothpaste. And this is to keep a sufficient amount of fluoride in your mouth. This is because when you rinse your mouth after brushing, the water would rinse away the fluoride. And as I said before, this is a mineral added to dental products to strengthen the teeth and keep the teeth healthy and strong. So my recommendation would be these 4 toothpastes. These 4 toothpastes are probably the best toothpaste. I feel like there are many toothpastes out there which, for example, have some kind of charcoal, or they have some sort of soda, or they have some sort of chemicals. These chemicals, even though they promote them, for example, on TV, they say, oh, this toothpaste has, for example, charcoal and it's good for whitening. I promise you, it like charcoal does more bad than good. Charcoal, I feel, is just some kind of trend that's now going on. So when you go into the supermarket, or if you see the toothpaste that you have currently at home right now, just make sure that you check that the toothpaste contains at least 1,350 parts per million fluoride, and it should say something like this. Usually in the UK, majority of them have 1,450, unless you're looking at a child's toothpaste, which would be less. So another way that you can reduce the risk of acquiring COVID-19 is by using mouthwash. Now, mouthwash is a practice which is, I guess, a bit overlooked. Some people use it, some majority don't really. Some people only use it when they feel they have pain in their gums, or they feel they have a toothache. However, as I said before, using mouthwash is very overlooked, especially in the times of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's always been highly recommended, and I feel like people don't know this, but mouthwash actually adds 75% more protection to your teeth and gums. That's just to your teeth and gums alone. So mouthwash is an antiseptic, which means it keeps the mouth and gums clean and keeps them as clean as possible. It is a bactericidal solution, which means that it reduces the amount of bacteria in the mouth by killing bacteria. I think most mouthwashes aim to kill, I think, 98 to 99% of bacteria. However, the thing with the mouth is, as soon as you brush your teeth, you can take away all of the plaque, take away all of the bacteria, but bacteria comes back within seconds. So it's impossible to get 100% clean mouth. So that's not the aim. The aim is to just reduce the amount of bacteria. Mouthwash can also exhibit a basically kind of a pain relief. For example, if you have pain in your gums, or if your gums are red and inflamed. So last month, I wrote an article which I think is going to be in the current issue of the Iraq Association's newsletter, I think. So I decided to do some research on the connection between COVID-19 and oral health. And I found that in a recent study, mouthwashes in particular have reportedly shown antiviral activity against COVID-19 virus. So we established before that mouthwash can kill bacteria. Bacteria is a different group to viruses. They have a different shape. They work differently. So as we know, the COVID-19 virus is a virus. So I found that scientists at Cardiff University in Wales in the UK have come across a very interesting discovery. they found, and they did a lot of tests, and they found that there were good signs that mouthwashes may help destroy the COVID-19 virus, which is within the mouth. The result was almost 99%, which is very promising. So the science behind how mouthwash can actually reduce COVID-19, as we said, COVID-19 is a virus. Mouthwashes work against bacteria. In mouthwashes, there is a certain substance called CPC. We don't have to go into what CPC is, but it's basically a substance which has been found to destroy the fatty lipid covering membrane of the COVID-19 virus. So as you can see here in the picture, this is a COVID-19 virus, and this gray covering is the fatty lipid layer. So this is the fatty lipids covering. When coronavirus first came about, I think around about a year and a month ago, last March, the first thing that I read was when you wash your hands with soap, the reason why they were stressing on using soap when you wash your hand, and the fact that you should wash your hands for 30 seconds, is because soap has a substance which destroys the fatty lipids covering membrane, which we can see over here. This is obviously why hand washing is very important, but this is the science behind how the COVID-19 virus is destroyed. So the study at Cardiff University showed that after just a 30-second exposure of the mouthwash, up to 99.9% of the virus within the mouth can be destroyed. Obviously, this is very, very promising because something like mouthwash can be bought from the supermarket for as little as £1, if not £1.50, and it's possibly, it could basically save your life if you were, for example, at a high risk, or if you were shielding, for example, or just anyone who it basically prevents them from contracting COVID-19. So the studies also showed that even if the virus has mutations or new variants, such as now I think there's 3 or 4 of the COVID-19 variants, as long as a mouthwash contains CPC, it can still kill and destroy the COVID-19 virus, which is a good thing. For example, obviously there are around about 4 or 5 different vaccines, and nobody knows the efficiency of how well or how efficient they are towards other mutations of or other mutations or new variants of the COVID-19 virus. But for sure, they've seen that because the virus will still have the lipids fatty membrane over, as shown in grey on the diagram, mouthwash will still be able to destroy it. Yeah, as I said, this is basically the same concept as hand washing, because it would also destroy the fatty lipid covering. So in terms of mouthwashes, you should check the bottle on the back in the ingredients. Make sure that you look for CPC. This is the long name, but this is a substance which is in, I think, around about 80% of mouthwashes. These 5 mouthwashes are ones that I've confirmed that do have CPC. Obviously, the normal standard procedure for mouthwashes is to fill the cap with a bit of mouthwash, and then you should gargle for around about 30 seconds and then spit. However, do not rinse after. Like, you might have a very hot, spicy feeling in your mouth, but that means that it's basically working. And you should make sure to wait at least 30 minutes before eating, so that the mouthwash takes full effect. So these mouthwashes that I've said just now, these are found in your normal supermarkets, pharmacies, very easily accessible. So the things we can take from this is, usually they say wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. However, I feel like, as I said before, it should be 4. It should be wash your hands, brush your teeth, and wear a mask, and obviously social distance. So the main points is to brush 2 times a day, do not spit the toothpaste, use mouthwash containing CPC, gargle for 30 seconds, and avoid eating for up to 30 minutes after. Wear a mask, wash your hands frequently before eating and before touching your mouth, and make sure to see your dentist on a regular basis for any dental pain, discomfort, or any other problems. Obviously, this all links together, it ties together, because as I said before, the mouth is the main point of entry for COVID-19 virus. So when you take these measures, it would obviously all help protect you against the COVID-19 virus. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Noor. I haven't received any questions yet. Oh, hang on. No, not yet. But in the meantime, I mean, I have a few questions. So maybe we can start off. We can just close this. How do we? There we go. Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, I think you made a really good, link. The link between oral health and general health. I feel like maybe people have an idea of this, but I didn't realize how many issues around the body it can affect. So thank you very much for highlighting those. Something I just wanted to, there's a few points I think you mentioned that I wanted to ask further questions about, and I was making some notes. So you talked about how we know how the bacteria, sort of the COVID-19 virus, lives in the back of the mouth, and that's why we're swabbing the back of our mouths and our noses. I noticed on the packaging of the testing, because we got some lateral flow tests, and you also mentioned that, you know, I think in the text on your presentation about the virus residing on the tonsils. If you don't have tonsils, it's still just in the same general area in your mouth?
Yeah. So let's say that you don't have tonsils. For example, like there's those people who have their tonsils removed.
Like me.
The virus would stay basically like let's say like where the tonsils would be. And of course around, for example, on the tongue as well, and obviously when you speak, when you talk, the virus would get moved around and it would be displaced from one area to the other. So that's why they take the swabs from both sides, as well as in the nose, just in case there's a small amount of the virus, or they might have missed it in the swab, but it would probably be all over the back of the mouth.
Great. Yeah, thank you. In terms of like the toothpaste and also mouthwash, I mean, I struggle to not, I mean, I don't rinse out completely, but I have a tendency to rinse at least a little bit of water in my mouth, because I don't like the feeling of having, you know, what it feels like still things in my mouth. But so no rinsing at all after either of those. Yeah,
no. Because the thing with toothpaste is when you spit out the toothpaste, the substance which is fluoride, which is the main component which keeps your teeth healthy.
Yeah.
And it's actually been scientifically proven that when you have, for example, let's say if you have like tooth decay and you need a filling, when the filling is in an early stage, this fluoride can actually, let's say, like reverse the process. So fluoride is very, very important when it comes to, for example, brushing and not spitting out, because when you brush your teeth, obviously, and you don't, and there's like a bit of toothpaste inside, this kind of gives the mouth and the teeth a, let's say, like 30-minute, 40-minute time slot to like reinstate the all of the minerals and the components which the teeth need.
Thanks. And just a quick note, Fawzia unfortunately had to leave due to an appointment. Just to let you know why she disappeared. Then the other question then, between brushing and mouthwash, can you use mouthwash straight after brushing, or should you use it at a different time of day or later, or?
So in terms of mouthwash, so let's say, for example, you have just had your, for example, dinner. It's recommended to wait at least half an hour before brushing. this is because when you eat, obviously, every food has, for example, sugar, you have carbohydrates, which are sugars. And when you have sugars, these sugars turn into acids. So your saliva in your mouth becomes acidic. So, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to wait half an hour so that the acidity of the saliva comes back to normal. And so when you brush, the fluoride doesn't kind of react with the acid.
Yeah, so it's half an hour before or after eating.
Yeah.
But then what like mouthwash? Can you use the mouthwash straight after brushing, or should
okay? So with mouthwash, you can use it pretty much straight after when you brush your teeth. Mouthwash you can use, I guess, as many times as you want during the day. Obviously, don't go crazy over mouthwash. I mean, like just in case you swallow some or it's too hot in your mouth, but you can use it straight after brushing. You can use it, for example, if you don't want to brush after a meal, but you just want to feel that fresh feeling, use mouthwash. There isn't really a limit or a time limit on.
That's good to know. Great, thanks. We've had lots of people saying thanks in the chat and that it was an excellent presentation and thanking you for all the information. There are a couple of questions. I've got one about what about using salt instead of mouthwash?
So with salt, let's say, for example, you have pain in your tooth, or you have some sort of toothache, or just any sort of like pain in your mouth. Usually what a dentist recommend is that you do a gargle with salt to keep your mouth clean. However, salt isn't, let's say, it doesn't have all of the effects to kill bacteria or to prevent bacteria or to prevent a virus, for example. Usually it's just to keep the area relatively clean, but there hasn't been actually any scientific research to prove that it does kill bacteria or it does like save you from harm of any.
Okay, and another question we have is about brushing your tongue and whether that's advised as part of the routine. Yes,
this is actually another thing that is very overlooked. Which is basically when you brush your tongue, when you have a toothbrush, there's sometimes the, it's like the underside of the toothbrush.
On the back.
Yeah. So the method is to basically like scrape downwards. This is actually a very good method to remove bacteria and, of course, possibly the virus if we want to link it into COVID-19. You can also get these things, I think they're called
the tongue scrapers?
They're called like tongue scrapers.
Scrapers, yeah.
It's like a round piece of metal, and then you pull downwards, I think three, 4 times, and then you wash and then you rinse your mouth. It's a very effective way to remove bacteria because obviously the tongue is one of the main places where bacteria, viruses, all of the bad stuff would reside onto as well. So that is a very good
thanks.
Please.
And another question about how often we need to use floss.
Okay, so flossing. Flossing has always been debated about when to use it. So you should definitely use it when you brush your teeth. However, there's a lot of debate on whether you do it before or after. Personally, I would say you floss before, so that when you floss, you take all of the like dirt and all of the plaque and all of the food out, and then you brush so everything comes out. Some people or some other, let's say dentists or health professionals would say you floss after, so that if there's residue, then you take it out. However, either one you do, everything helps. Personally, I would say before brushing, but obviously it's personal preference, and I think the difference is very, very marginal.
And how often?
Every time you brush your teeth, so twice a day.
Yeah, perfect. I don't see any more questions right now. Something that kind of came to mind also is alcohol in mouthwash, and I know obviously some people may feel that they obviously don't want to, whether it's religious reasons or other reasons, not have alcohol. I mean, how does that kind of play a role?
There are a lot of mouthwashes which don't have alcohol, but I feel like it's important to note that whether they have alcohol or not, they're still going to work as best as they can. So even if a mouthwash doesn't have alcohol, it's still going to work in the way that a normal mouthwash should work. So we shouldn't worry about alcohol and alcohol. As in, obviously, if you have a preference, then it's the preference. But yeah, there isn't really a difference between them, I think.
It's interesting because I do remember, I think maybe this time last year, maybe I can't remember if it was in the first lockdown, that there was this kind of huge increase in sales of mouthwash. And I remember just not even being able to find it. I think a lot of people had kind of jumped on that that information that it would be good to get rid of the virus.
Yeah, I mean, when the study that I talked about came out, I think came about, they finished the study in October. So I think it came at a very good time because obviously I guess nobody knows how long the virus is going to be around for, but at least it's something that's a very simple, cheap, and very effective way of like reducing your risk of acquiring COVID-19, like the same way that you wash your hands or wear a mask or social distance.
Yeah, I suppose it has just generally probably helped everybody's oral health even more.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially now when maybe a lot of people have missed their dental appointments over the last year or put them off or whatever. But I guess we should also recommend to everyone that they do go and see their dentist if they need to.
Yeah, definitely.
And measures are being put in place like everywhere else, I guess. We've had more thanks in the chat, including from the Iraqi Women's League and other people saying it's very informative. And also, actually, Jabbar was just asking whether we, as the Iraqi Association, could have a copy of your PowerPoint because it was really useful. Yeah. So maybe we can kind of pull out some information and also disseminate that to the community.
Yeah, that's fine. That's my pleasure.
Cool. I don't know, is there anything else that you think may be useful to add, or if anybody has any more questions, this is your chance. If you want to speak to Noor directly, or if you want to type in the chat, feel free. ما أعرف إذا أحد بعد عنده يعني أي أسئلة حتى لو بالعربي يعني نقدر نساعدكم. I don't know إذا أكو شيء إذا لا. No. Okay, then I think we'll say thank you very much, Noor. It was really, really helpful, really useful. I've recorded this video so we can share it with people who might also find it useful. Thank you for everybody for making it this afternoon, and yeah, look after your oral health, I guess.
Thank you very much for for basically like giving me this really nice opportunity.
Oh, thanks for joining us. Thank you. We appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Good luck with the rest of your studies and your research as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.